Sri Lankans have elected a leftist political outsider as president, rebuking elites who bankrupted the nation and imposed stringent austerity measures backed by the IMF. For more, let's bring in our senior reporter, Dan Strumpf. He's joining us out of Colombo this morning. And Dan, just tell us more about this new president.
Yeah, hi, good morning. So he's very much a political outsider here in Sri Lanka. This election is the closest really the closest election in recent history. It's the first ever runoff election, a very closely contested race between three major candidates. One thing that makes this candidate, Dissanayake, stand out is he's from outside of the political mainstream in Sri Lanka. He's not a member of one of sort of Sri Lanka's well-connected political families that has ruled this country on and off over the years. And he's come in with a very clear, direct promise to sort of help ordinary people who have been hurt by the crisis that has hit this nation so hard over the years, and still being felt 2 years after what was really a historic debt default that this country went through.
Yeah, does that debt sort of restructuring, is it put in doubt now, given Dissanayake's election?
Well, to an extent, it is. I mean, he came through this campaign with a promise to sort of reopen the IMF process that was agreed to a year ago by the outgoing administration. Now, that process came with it a $3 billion bailout, and as well as some significant restructuring requirements, as IMF bailouts always do. So some of those requirements that were pushed through by the outgoing administration included things like higher taxes, sale of state assets, removal of some subsidies, just to meet some benchmarks to raise revenue and reduce the deficit here in Sri Lanka. So these have been unpopular measures that have been really felt by ordinary people over the last 2 years, and is a major reason why you saw this political upset and why voters ousted the last administration. So a lot of the specifics of what he wants to do to restructure this deal still aren't clear, and that will hopefully become more clear in the weeks and months ahead. He said he doesn't want to throw out the IMF deal altogether, but you may see a process where some renegotiation of some provisions comes in, and some efforts are made to sort of alleviate some of these measures that were taken that were really felt by ordinary people here in Sri Lanka.
And it seems that, I mean, this is a nation that heavily relies on Chinese funding as well, especially when it comes to ports in Sri Lanka. Dan, I'm just wondering, what are the consequences of this election on those relationships with China and India, too?
Well, it's true. I mean, Sri Lanka does sit in a very sort of strategic location, right sort of at the south of India. India, of course, has very close relations with Sri Lanka and is also a major investor in the country. Sri Lanka is the biggest foreign creditor. China is the biggest foreign creditor in Sri Lanka. And this has led to some real push and pull. As we all know, India and China are strategic rivals. India is quite close to the U.S. on this issue. Dissanayake has said that he wants to more closely scrutinize foreign deals, foreign investment that has come in. A lot of the foreign debt coming in from China has taken the blame for the debt crisis that this country went through in recent years. So, I think we can probably expect more scrutiny of some of these foreign deals, more scrutiny of some of this foreign debt. But at the same time, Sri Lanka does need foreign investment. I mean, this is a country that imports everything, essentially. This is a country that is really reliant on foreign investors to build things, as you said, like ports, highways, infrastructure. Everywhere you look, you really see a lot of foreign investment that's behind a lot of the construction here these days. So, it will be an issue that does take center stage, though, in the next weeks and months to come.